What's up, everyone? Steven here from Techmaker Studio. This is building a decentralized Twitter clone with react.js and aleph.im, part 8. When we left off in the last episode, we had just gotten our post form working with the sockets. And if we refresh here, let's try this again really quick. Let's say testing in part 8. Let's post. And I think it's going to give me an error because I'm not signed in maybe up here. I don't remember which account. Maybe this is the account, this 0x1cd. Yeah, let me click connect wallet. There may be a little bit of a bug around that, but now that I'm actually connected to the correct wallet, from episode, let's say part 8. Here we go. Let's say post. It should prompt me to sign. And it may come in immediately or it may take a second. But eventually we should get a message. I wonder how many seconds this is going to take. Let's give it a minute and see. So what's it been? That's probably... Okay, so it says 19 seconds. So we have an obvious UX problem that comes from this. And again, this may be something we can get the WebSockets faster at some point or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. What I was thinking to do is whenever we basically submit this form, something like we click post, we have to sign the message, and then whenever this goes through, we get some kind of loading animation here. Maybe the form goes away, and then when the message comes in, the modal gets closed, something along those lines. Now that I'm looking at how long this is taking, though, I might not actually like that idea. Well, that didn't take too long that time. Maybe it did. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. Honestly. So it seems like it took 2 seconds. We just didn't see it. It probably just flickered really quickly, so we didn't even see it change. I guess we'll go with my original plan, and we'll see what we think. But anyway, let's jump into it. So the first thing we're going to need to figure out is how to take some kind of action whenever we sign this transaction, or cancel for that matter. We may not worry about cancel in this episode, but we will need to figure out how do we actually handle capture the event of it actually submitting here. I think what we can do is say, let's say const tx equals, it's not really a transaction. I guess it is kind of a transaction. It's a transaction with respect to Aleph. Let's say like if tx, and we'll just let's console.log tx here. So if this works, if this actually works, then what we should expect is, let's open up our JavaScript terminal over here. We look like we're signed in. We got our address down here. So let's say testing tx here, post. So we haven't gotten anything logged out down here yet. When I click sign, okay, so when we click sign, briefly after that we get our tx down here, which makes sense to me. So, and then let's close this and see if we got it back. Okay, so we got it back pretty quick. Well, 7 seconds. I think this 7-second differential essentially is pretty much how long it's taking us to get it back from the network via the socket. So that's not great. But in any case, we got it back and we got our tx down here. So let's do this. What we want to do is update the element that we're in whenever we have a tx. And I just realized that TX may be not normal naming for some people. It's transaction in short. Okay, so let's go to getbootstrap.com. Let's go to the docs, components. I'm trying to remember what this is called. Here we go, progress. So I'm just going to copy this progress bar, not the 0. Give me one that's like 25 or something. And we will be changing this. Right now, all this is just filler content, obviously. So if you're like, this is really ugly, don't worry. We're going to fix that at some point in the near future. So let's make this class name here. Class name. And we'll need to get rid of some stuff eventually. I think there's some stuff in here that React doesn't like. But let's go back and look at this. Let's do a good refresh here. The style prop. Right. Okay, so this expects to get a JavaScript item, basically. So we'll close that off like that. And let's see what that does. Okay, so now you can see we have this progress bar. So what I want to do, essentially the UX for this, and I don't know if we're going to get this fully finished in this episode. We'll probably get just kind of the basic mechanics working. And then in the next episode, we'll do the design update. Okay, so the first basic mechanic we want to do is if there's a TX, we want to show the loader. Otherwise, we want to show the form. Okay, so I'm going to make a new use state variable here. And we're going to say TX set TX equals use state. And we'll basically just say, actually, let's do it like this. Let's say false. Let's say TX in progress, and then we'll do set TX in progress. Just kind of have a Boolean flag here. And then we'll do set TX in progress true. And then down here, what you're going to do is say TX in progress question mark. And if there's a TX in progress, we're going to have this. Else, we're going to have this other stuff. Now, you can't have two elements returned, so I'm just going to make a really simple like div here. Like this. And then we will basically move these guys up inside there. Let's go have a look at this now. And hopefully we don't get any crazy surprises in this episode. All right, so testing TX in progress. Okay, so we'll post this. We'll sign. And now we get this loading animation. And you can see we already got back the answer here. So that's actually, the socket on that was really quick. So hopefully most of the time it is. But what we need to do now, because what should happen when we get the response back is that the actual, the modal closes and everything kind of resets. And then we just kind of see. So the UX would basically be click submit. You kind of get a loading animation, which should be kind of smooth. Maybe if it's taking an extra long time, it kind of hangs out kind of toward the end. Like I'm sure you've seen that before on a web page. It feels like it's taking a while. We may even make like a little animated background instead of just a solid color. And then whenever the message comes back from the socket that matches what you just posted, we're going to hide everything and reset it. And that's going to be the UX. Or at least that's how I'm imagining it now. If we're getting like, crazy long wait times, that might not be the best. But anyway, all right, so let's see how we can get this going. So back in the code, let's have a look at the next problem we're going to need to solve. So we have our socket connected where is it connected? Here inside of this post.js. Now, if we look at the actual architecture, so we have app.js at the top level. Then we have posts down here, and then we have the post form modal, which is actually out here. Okay, so we have a few options, but basically what we need to have happen is we need to get the socket information over into our post form modal, because when we get a message, we need to check if it was from us. So if it was from us, we want to close everything and reset, like I said. So one way we could do it, and I'm still actually thinking about this literally as I'm making this video, one way we could do it is have some kind of property on the top level of the app, and then like basically pass the method for setting that property down into our posts, and then whenever, you know what, let's just do it, and then it'll be more obvious. We may change this because the thing is, what we don't want to do is constantly reload the app, but actually if we're reloading just when we post, that might be okay. You'll see what I mean in a second. So let's do this. Let's say const user just posted, or user post received, and then maybe like set user post received, and then we'll say use state false, like this. And then what we'll need to do is basically say down in our socket, where we have the sockets, I'm going to new line some of this stuff so that it's a little bit easier to read as we go. State management in React is not something that is extremely easy sometimes, and I tend to try a few things and then kind of rework it, but let's see how this goes. So my understanding really quick, if you're learning React, I'm also kind of learning React. I might be further along than some of you, but like the way I understand it is you have all these use state variables, and anytime something in the state changes, my understanding is it re-renders the component. So I try not to change my top level state. So you'll see like we have I don't want to change it very often, I should say. So like the Web3 connection shouldn't really change once we connect MetaMask. The account shouldn't change, and the wallet address shouldn't change unless we do something that changes the entire screen, like switching MetaMask account or something like that. So I'm always very careful about what I put in the top level component. In this case, I think this is going to be okay, but we may change it. So I'm sorry, I'm talking and not working. So what do we call that? User post received. So we don't really care about this status inside of posts. What we care about is the set user post received method. And then we'll do set user post received. And then inside of posts, basically what I want to do is if I have just received a message that is from me, I want to say, hey, I just received a message from this user. And then what we're going to do is alert our modal, like, hey, we just got this message back from ourselves, which means the post that you just submitted, we got it. So we can hide the modal. That's the idea. Which means I'm also going to need inside of posts, I'm going to need to know my address. I'm going to say, sorry for the crazy scrolling. We'll say wallet address equals wallet address here. And let's go back down into post now. And let's come in here and let's add some console logging. So on message, post item content. Let's console.log the post. So let me just save everything here because I've been changing a bunch of stuff. So refresh. I'm going to go ahead and run clear over here to clear this up so we can be sure that what we get is the one we're interested in. Logging to console. We're going to assign the message here. Let's see. So I did get it. I'm wondering if, I'm wondering if this is going to work exactly how I'm thinking. It may or may not. We may be getting these back a lot faster all of a sudden. But you can see here we have content, address. So what I want to check is the post content address. We're going to find out together if this model that I've come up here makes sense. Post.content.address equals props.wallet address. I'll make sure I have props being brought in on these posts. Yep. So, okay. Save that. Hopefully we get a true here. Oh, that's all false, which makes sense. Well, it makes sense because my wallet's not connected. That's not good. Let's connect the wallet. Testing, logging again. Here we go. Let's post. We will sign. And why does that not match? Let me log them both out. Console.log. Maybe it's like undefined or something for some reason. I'm not sure why, and it always worries me when I have like the color doesn't quite match, but I guess it's fine. Okay. Let's refresh, and so we got undefined on all of those. It's because I'm not connected. Okay, so now my wallet is connected. Let me do like a... Okay. Now I'm getting a bunch of stuff. Okay, so let's do... Doesn't matter. Sign. Those look the same to me. And that is very confusing. Let's check if they're equal just under... let's add a little bit of extra info here. Let's say post. Let's do wallet here. And then let's do console.log. And then we'll just copy these and check for equality. And I don't know why, but if I don't hit Command-Shift-R, I don't have a wallet here. If I just click refresh, it doesn't connect me. But if I guess you call that like a hard refresh on a Mac, Command-Shift-R. Okay. Let's post this and see if we get true here. I can't tell what came from where. I guess that was the last one. Maybe it just kind of slipped in. One thing I just noticed is it looks like we may need to listen for a different event, because if you saw that, it actually took a couple of seconds for this to switch to this loading screen, so that doesn't do quite what we want. But it looks like our addresses match now, so I think I'm going to basically try to get this thing to hide. And let's see. how far am I into this? I think I'm like at 20 minutes. So what we need to do, I'm going to go a little further with this. I don't know if I'm going to finish this whole feature or if I'm going to cut the video. So trying not to let these videos get much past 20 minutes here. What I want to do is say, let's cut all of this. Let's say if this, what we want to do is say props, if I can type, props dot set user post received. Okay. And then let's come over here to our post form modal. I have to like remember how this is triggered. So what we can do actually, I think, let's do this. In our top level up here, let's do a use effect. So I was gonna pass. So what I was gonna do was pass something down into the actual modal. And maybe I need to. Let's go look at the Bootstrap documentation really quick. Let's look at modals. My modal add event listener. So it's sort of anti-React. This is something I haven't done in React before, is mess with these modals. I'm used to like jQuery or something. So typically what we would do is have like document get element by ID, my modal, and then like my modal.hide or something to that effect. I think so. Launch demo modal. There's gonna be a modal like close or hide or something like that. Let's actually look in the Bootstrap 5 has also sort of changed up the documentation structure, so that's interesting. Let's see here. Modal. Let's do hide. Methods hide. MyModal.hide. So what we should be able to do is document get element by ID. So this is sort of like not the declarative style that you would normally use in React, but I want to get this working and I don't want to spend all my life on this, so or yours. So let's see if we can get something basic working. So instead of passing something down into the I'm lost. Instead of passing something down into the modal itself, what I want to do is from the outside, I just want to close the modal. Now, what I would like to really be able to do is be able to pass in like open or closed here and then change some state stuff, which might work. We might be able to just manipulate some classes. But I'm going to research that off camera. And in the meantime, what we're going to do is set up a use effect. And again, we're going to do this thing where we listen to a specific property. So we're going to listen to, what do we call this? User post received. So it's a user post received. And then if user post received, what I want to do is say modal equals document.get element by ID. And then what do we call the modal? We should not call this example modal. We should call this like post modal. And let me just quickly copy this and paste it where it says example modal, at least in these two places. Okay, but we got post modal here. So we're going to say document get element by ID post modal. And then we're going to, well, first of all, let's do const equals that, and then what did Bootstrap tell us to do? Just call hide on it. So we'll do modal.hide. And then I think what we should do is say set user post received to false. Okay, so let's try this. Modal.hide is not a function. I believe we have potentially not brought in Bootstrap. No, we have Bootstrap here. Huh. Let's do a quick Google on this, but I may actually kind of pause the video here and see what's going on. Modal hide is not a function. That's from 2017. That's probably gonna not work. Just remove the data. Let's see if there's modal hide. Let's try this. If this doesn't work, I'm going to apologize, but we're going to stop here and I'll pick up in the next video once I figure this out off camera. But again, I'm trying to keep these to be like a sort of reasonable length. Modal is not a function. Uncaught type error. Modal is not a function. Let's do one quick thing here. Modal.hide is not a function. Bootstrap React. So we're not using this React Bootstrap, and maybe we should be. I'm going to look into that. I think we pretty much just grabbed the Bootstrap distribution from the main Bootstrap website. So yeah, I'm going to cut this here. So in the next video, what we're going to do is, let me comment this out so that we can actually see the screen. So in the next video, we're going to fix this so that we can actually like close this whenever we post. And we're also going to figure out how to listen to the correct event here, so that we're not just listening for the transaction, because I think the transaction is whenever we actually get something back from the socket, so, or potentially from the network. Not 100% sure. Sometimes these lifecycle events confuse me a little bit. So in any case, we're going to stop here and we'll pick it up in the next one. So I will talk to you there.